Have you ever had one of those weeks, you're completely glued to your desk, maybe the couch, just not moving much,
Uh-huh.
and then boom, the weekend hits. Suddenly you're out there, maybe gardening like a marathoner, or you're the MVP in a pickup game,
Right.
or you're just tackling every single chore you can possibly find with total gusto,
Yeah, going all out.
only to wake up Monday morning feeling, well, less like a weekend warrior and maybe more like a crumpled napkin.
That's a good way to put it.
Oh.
It's a scenario we see play out all the time, and actually, it's the perfect start for our deep dive today.
Okay.
That feeling you just described, that Monday morning ache, it isn't just, bad luck. It really stems from a pretty universal pattern.
Which is?
Prolonged inactivity followed by a sudden, really intense burst of effort.
Mhm.
And understanding that core pattern, well, that's key. It's not just about what you do, but the how. And maybe most importantly, how unprepared your body often is for that big shift.
Exactly. So this deep dive, it's all about weekend warrior injuries. We're aiming to kind of cut through the noise, get to the core truths about why these things happen, across different ages, different life stages.
Right.
And most importantly, how you can actually prevent them. This is all pulled straight from the sources you shared. Our mission here is just to give you the most valuable, impactful nuggets of knowledge.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. First off, what exactly defines a weekend warrior based on our sources?
So basically, it's someone who does very little, maybe no real physical activity during the week, but then really goes all in on the weekends.
Right, like that classic example.
Exactly. The office worker maybe spends Monday to Friday sitting, staring at screens, barely moving much beyond the keyboard and the coffee machine.
Uh-huh.
Then Saturday rolls around, and suddenly they're playing like 2 hours of super competitive basketball. Like they're trying out for a team.
Yeah, 0 to 60.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's that really stark, dramatic contrast in activity levels. That's what truly defines it.
And why is that contrast so risky? What's happening physiologically?
Well, that contrast is precisely where the risk just skyrockets.
Yeah.
Your body, after sitting around, it isn't like a light switch you can just flick to high performance.
Mm-hmm.
Our sources really hammer this home. Muscles, tendons, ligaments, they all need to be gradually conditioned. So when you jump into these high-intensity things without any prep,
Yeah.
you're basically hitting them with unexpected, often explosive stress. It's like asking a totally cold engine to suddenly redline.
Ouch. Okay.
It's going to complain, right? And often something gives. The physiological truth is your body's tissues just haven't had that chance to adapt, to build up any resilience for those sudden demands.
That really clarifies it. It's less about the activity itself and way more about the lack of preparation for it.
Precisely.
And this pattern, it's not just office workers playing basketball. What I found kind of surprising in the sources is how it looks different depending on your age. So for young adults, say people in their 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, what does this look like for them? What are the specific dangers?
Yeah, for that younger group, the pattern often centers around high-impact sports or, pretty intense fitness goals.
Like what?
We're talking about jumping into a really spontaneous, high-energy pickup soccer game or basketball with zero conditioning beforehand.
Okay.
Or suddenly deciding, hey, this weekend I'm going to run a 10K. But they haven't done any training runs during the week. None at all.
Right.
Or maybe it's that hours-long bike ride or a gym marathon after weeks of basically doing nothing. The danger is their youth, their sort of perceived fitness, can kind of mask that lack of specific conditioning for these really sudden, intense bursts.
So if you're that person hitting the court or the trail after a quiet week, what specific injuries are you most likely looking at and why those?
The sources are pretty clear here. The injuries directly mirror those high-impact activities. So very frequently, we see ankle sprains from those quick pivots and cuts. Hamstring and quad strains, those are muscle fiber tears from sudden sprints or jumps that the muscles just weren't ready for.
Makes sense.
Then you got various kinds of tendinitis. That's inflammation of the tendons, those tough cords connecting muscle to bone. Think Achilles tendinitis from explosive push-offs, or maybe tennis elbow from repetitive swings or overhead stuff.
Okay.
And unfortunately, knee pain and ligament injuries are pretty common too, especially things like ACL or meniscus tears. They often happen from twisting or sudden stops or landing awkwardly movements the knee joint just wasn't stable enough for.
Wow, that's quite a list. It's a stark reminder. But okay, for those young adults caught in that cycle, what are the really impactful prevention tips from our sources? What's a game changer beyond just, stretch more?
Yeah, good question. One of the most powerful things, often overlooked or highlighted in the sources, is the huge impact of even a brief dynamic warm-up.
Dynamic, meaning?
Meaning movement-based, not just holding a stretch.
Yeah.
Think arm circles, leg swings, torso twists, stuff that gradually gets the blood flowing
Yeah.
and actually prepares your muscles and joints. The sources suggest it can reduce injury risk significantly, maybe up to 60%, because it literally primes your body's shock absorbers.
60%. That's huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
And beyond that, even just short, consistent bits of activity during the week, like 2 15-minute walks or doing some bodyweight squats, it's transformative. The goal isn't being an athlete all week,
Right.
but just avoiding being completely sedentary.
Yeah.
Then, super important, increase intensity gradually. Don't go 0 to 100 in one go.
Ease into it.
Exactly. And finally, building core and joint strength. Stronger abs, glutes, muscles around your knees and ankles that provides crucial stability. It acts like a natural brace against that sudden stress.
Okay, that's really practical advice. So the 30-something athlete faces one set of issues. But what really struck me in these sources is how this weekend warrior thing isn't just about sports. It pops up in really unexpected ways, especially for older adults.
Yeah.
And the risks seem, well, maybe even higher.
You're absolutely right. It's a totally different landscape for seniors, and the pattern manifests differently.
So for seniors, what does this pattern look like? It's probably not a pickup basketball game, right?
Usually not, no. Many older adults don't think of themselves as athletes, but they absolutely fall into this high-risk pattern. Their sport, so to speak, might look a bit different.
How so?
Picture this, spending maybe 3 hours straight tackling an overgrown garden. Lots of digging, bending, reaching after being mostly sedentary all week.
Okay, I can picture that.
Or deciding, right, today's the day I clean the entire house, top to bottom. Lifting, scrubbing, reaching for hours. It could be hauling heavy laundry baskets up and down stairs after days of lighter activity. Or even playing a long, energetic game of pickleball, which is booming, right, after days of rest.
It's that classic scenario, isn't it? You spend all week psyching yourself up to conquer the garden, only for the garden to conquer you by Monday morning.
Exactly. It's incredibly common.
Yeah.
And for seniors, the risks are definitely compounded. There's several physiological changes that just happen naturally with age.
Like what specifically?
Well, the sources point to decreased flexibility. Tissues have less give. And what's called tissue resilience goes down, meaning muscles and tendons are less pliable, they don't absorb stress or bounce back as well, so more prone to tearing. Recovery from strains also takes significantly longer. Then there's balance. A decline in balance really increases the risk of falls.
That's a big one.
Huge. And existing conditions like arthritis, which is joint inflammation, or osteoporosis, where bones get more brittle, they make sudden physical stress much harder for the body to handle, can lead to much more severe outcomes. A stumble that might just bruise a younger person could cause a major fracture.
That paints a really clear picture of why the same pattern can have different, often more severe consequences for older adults. So what are the most common injuries we actually see in this group then?
Given those factors, the injuries tend to differ quite a bit. Back pain is a huge one, especially lower back pain from all that prolonged bending, lifting, or awkward movements after being sedentary.
Right.
Rotator cuff tears in the shoulder are frequent, often from overhead work, reaching high shelves, scrubbing windows, even just suddenly lifting something heavy in an awkward way. Those small shoulder tendons become more vulnerable.
Okay.
And critically, as you mentioned, falls. Falls can easily lead to fractures, especially the hip, wrist, or shoulder. And perhaps the most concerning, though maybe less obvious sometimes, is the risk of cardiac events. That sudden, intense exertion after inactivity can put immense acute strain on the heart.
Wow.
For people with underlying cardiovascular conditions, it can potentially trigger serious issues, heart attacks, arrhythmias. It's a risk factor we really need to be aware of, but sometimes gets overlooked when we focus just on muscles and bones.
That's a powerful and frankly pretty sobering reminder of those hidden dangers. So, okay, what specific prevention tips do the sources offer for seniors? How can they stay active safely without becoming a weekend warrior statistic?
The good news is there are really effective strategies. The absolute key is breaking that save it all for the weekend cycle. Integrate light, consistent daily activity throughout the week.
Like what kind of things?
Short walks, gentle stretching, even just standing up and moving around more frequently. Little bits add up. Then, when tackling any strenuous task, gardening, cleaning, whatever, always warm up first. Gentle mobility drills.
Like arm circles again?
Exactly. Arm circles, gentle knee lifts, ankle rotation. Just get things moving. And adding specific balance and strength exercises into the regular routine is crucial. Even simple stuff.
Such as?
Standing on one leg for a few seconds, holding onto a counter if needed, doing chair squats sitting down and standing up from a chair without using your hands. These significantly reduce fall risk and improve overall resilience.
Okay.
And critically important, use adaptive tools. They're your friends. Think lightweight hoses for the garden. Use knee pads, maybe raised planters to reduce bending. Don't try to be a hero. Use the right tools to make tasks easier on your body.
That's all incredibly practical. And speaking of seniors, there's this other unique group whose lifestyle creates its own distinct challenges, the snowbirds.
Oh yes, the seasonal warriors.
Our sources describe them perfectly like that. They experience these unique bursts of activity tied to their migrations, right?
Exactly. It's fascinating how their lifestyle naturally sets up this pattern. Imagine arriving at your summer place or your winter spot, maybe after a really long sedentary drive.
Yep.
And you immediately feel this pressure, this need to tackle months of accumulated tasks.
Right. Get everything sorted.
So this could mean washing the RV or the camper with a big, heavy pressure washer. That's actually a pretty intense full-body workout if you think about it.
Never thought of it that way.
Or meticulously cleaning patios, driveways, gutters. Then there's the inevitable lifting luggage, maybe moving some furniture around, reorganizing storage sheds, and often this is all happening right after that long, cramped car journey.
Yeah, I read that anecdote in the sources. The retiree who power washed his whole house and RV in one afternoon after driving up from Florida.
Yes, and ended up with a severe rotator cuff injury and back pain that just lingered for weeks. It's such a vivid example of this exact risk. It really is a perfect storm for injury.
Absolutely is. So what injuries are most common for snowbirds reflecting these specific activities?
Well, they often directly reflect those tasks and that sudden shift. Shoulder pain and rotator cuff injuries are incredibly common, again, from those repetitive, often overhead scrubbing motions with pressure washers or cleaning gutters. Those small shoulder muscles just aren't ready.
Okay.
Low back pain is a very frequent complaint, often made worse by the long hours of driving, which compresses the spine, immediately followed by heavy, unaccustomed chores like lifting or bending.
Right, the double whammy.
Exactly. Knee and hip strain can pop up from sudden yard work, especially on uneven ground, or moving heavy boxes or furniture. And of course, falls are a significant risk, especially on wet driveways from cleaning or maybe using ladders for those hard-to-reach spots.
So knowing these unique circumstances, what are the prevention strategies tailored specifically for snowbirds? How do they mitigate these risks?
The strategies really focus on breaking that do-it-all-at-once mentality. For those long road trips, stopping to stretch every 2 to 3 hours is vital.
Just basic stretches.
Even simple things, while stop neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, leg extensions, it keeps the body imber, prevents stiffness setting in, which makes those first few tasks less risky.
Makes sense.
Then, once they arrive, the big one. Spread the chores out over several days. Don't try to conquer Rome in a day. This reduces the strain hugely and allows for some recovery.
Okay.
Warming up with dynamic movements before jumping into things like pressure washing or heavy lifting. Non-negotiable. Same principle as before.
Right.
And maybe the most effective long-term strategy is maintaining some level of year-round fitness. This helps prevent what we call seasonal deconditioning.
Seasonal deconditioning.
Yeah, that's where your body loses its fitness capacity and resilience during those less active periods, maybe over the summer or winter, depending on their pattern. Staying moderately active all year means their bodies are always somewhat prepared for activity no matter where they are or what chores pop up.
Okay, so we've looked at young adults, seniors, snowbirds, different groups, different activities. But when you pull it all together, what's the big message here? What's the overarching insight from the sources?
I think it really boils down to this. It's less about the specific activity, whether it's basketball or gardening or washing an RV, and more about the pattern.
The pattern of inactivity followed by sudden intensity.
Exactly. That dramatic swing from 0 to 60, that's the real villain when it comes to these kinds of injuries, regardless of your age.
Right.
But, and this is really fascinating, there's a crucial nuance here that came through in the research. Being a weekend warrior, while definitely risky for your muscles and joints, those strains, sprains, tears we talked about, it's actually still better for your overall health than being completely inactive.
Really? How so?
Research shows that even that pattern of activity still helps lower the risk of things like heart disease. It contributes positively to cardiovascular health.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting.
However, and this is the really vital distinction for today's topic, when it comes to the health and resilience of your muscles, joints, tendons. Smaller, more consistent activity is the undisputed winner.
Ah, okay.
It's all about sustainable conditioning. Letting your tissues adapt gradually over time, not hitting them with these periodic bursts of heroism that just push them way past their limits.
That's a powerful point and kind of counterintuitive, actually. So it's not about being a perfect athlete every single day.
Not at all.
It's more about avoiding those extreme swings, from sedentary straight into intense.
You got it.
To put maybe a memorable cap on it, think of it like this: doing 10 minutes a day of stretching or walking or some gentle yoga. That's fundamentally better for your body, especially your musculoskeletal system, in the long run, than cramming every single bit of physical activity into one massive Saturday session.
Absolutely. Consistency truly beats those weekend heroics when it comes to preventing these kinds of injuries.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the core takeaway seems really clear. Consistency in movement and activity, it's like your body's best defense against injury. Doesn't really matter how old you are or what activities you love doing. Preventing those stark contrasts, long periods of rest followed by sudden, intense effort, that's the key to staying healthy, active, and actually enjoying your life without those painful setbacks.
Well said. And that leads to maybe an important final thought for you, our listener, to consider.
Okay.
Think about your own week, your own patterns. How could even really small, consistent acts of movement spread throughout your days? Maybe a quick stretch break or short walk at lunch, just a few minutes of gentle activity here and there. How could that start to transform your energy levels? How could it help prevent those future aches and pains? What small change could you make, maybe starting today, to keep enjoying your passions without the painful price tag of being a weekend warrior?